Civilization has collapsed. The cities are gone, the power grid is dead, and almost everything we depend on no longer works. From the wreckage, a few survivors emerge, and they will now face a world with no infrastructure, no support systems, and constant danger. Will humanity vanish for good, or can these few people rebuild and start civilization all over again? On today's episode of the Infographics Show, we're looking at what would happen if humanity had to start over. No one knows exactly how it started. Maybe it was a false alarm, a signal mistaken for a missile, sparking global retaliation. Maybe it was sabotage, a rogue general ready to win at any cost. Or maybe a world leader made a social media post saying, "What are they going to do, nuke us?" The only thing certain is that World War III finally happened, and the results were catastrophic. Billions are dead, and nearly every major population center lies in ruins. But small pockets of survivors made it. Those far from the blasts, alive, for now, but when the fallout spread, radiation killed countless more. Some had bunkers, but most collapsed or ran out of supplies. Only the best prepared made it past the first wave, and for them, the real struggle was just beginning. Hollywood imagines the post-fallout world as a barren wasteland, lifeless for decades. But today's nuclear weapons are designed to be a lot cleaner. They burn hot and fast, and it's believed that the majority of dangerous nuclear fallout would dissipate in a few weeks. Although the long-term effects of radiation won't be known for some time, it's likely that after a month or two, people would start emerging from the bomb shelters to see what was left, and what they would find would be a living nightmare. While humanity has survived, the world they know is gone, and it is not coming back. Just about every convenience the people have come to know no longer exists. It's like humanity has been sent back in time. Even basic tools and systems are gone. Forget about power, internet, and travel. Shelter, food, and water will be the order of the day, and they may be hard to come by. And it won't be easy to find out if it can be found anywhere else in the world, because in many ways, humanity has hit the reset button. There are a few key things about this new world. All modern technology has been eliminated. If someone had a cell phone with them in the bunker, it's a shiny black brick now. And hardly anyone is left. A few made it to the bunkers, some were powerful elites, others just ordinary people. A handful survived the blasts by luck alone. Add all of them up, and maybe 100,000 humans are still alive on the Earth. That's a population last seen around 200 to 300,000 years ago, during the early days of Homo sapiens. Making it more difficult for humanity to rebuild, this population has been divided across the world, with many separated by oceans. Right now, the only possible travel would be by wind-powered boats, and that's the last thing on anyone's mind. Survivors are cut off, some separated by oceans, others by hundreds or thousands of miles. There's no way to know if anyone else is even out there. People could set out on a pilgrimage, search for months for other colonies, and find nothing, because they missed them by 2 days. So that means people will get very close with the people around them. Survivors might believe they're the only ones left on the Earth. Their cities are silent, all communication is gone, and the world looks utterly destroyed. Many have lost their families, and even children who lived through the blast face an uncertain future. And soon, a grim question begins to take shape. Is there even anything left to save? Countless species have gone extinct in human history. Many, like the moa, woolly mammoth, and Tasmanian tiger, due to direct human intervention. Some have lingered around, teetering on the verge of extinction for years. In the case of the Tasmanian tiger, the last specimens were found in zoos before they died out. That is the cruel irony, surviving the apocalypse only to face a world where survival is impossible. But other people might say, screw the fates, and get busy. Could humanity repopulate itself? It would take a very long time, but fortunately there are the people around to do it. The old trope of two people being left to repopulate humanity isn't very realistic. With such a tiny dating pool, humanity's genetic future would collapse fast. But it is likely that the people who survived in bomb shelters are a more diverse group, with only a few being relatives. So chances are there would be enough genetic diversity to keep the species going, and future generations won't be sprouting extra fingers. Fortunately, humanity is flexible. A scientist doing a study on how to build human colonies in space determined that it would take around 98 people to carry on human civilization into the stars. This was partially due to the roles needed to run the spaceship and build the colony, but it was primarily due to the pool needed to create new generations of humans without the risk of inbreeding. However, this group would be carefully selected for this purpose, and the survivors of humanity were not. They're left with whoever managed to survive the bombs. Luckily, there's likely to be a much larger number, especially since children and the elderly can't be considered in this paradigm. But for right now, the survivors will have very different things on their minds. Survival will be the order of the day, and we're going to go right back to the beginning for that. Depending on the time of the year, nature may be the biggest challenge humans will be facing, and these critical factors don't give much time to plan. A cold night could kill within hours. Without clean water, humans would last only a few days, less if forced into hard labor. Food can stretch longer, up to a few weeks, but that clock is ticking too, which means the first priority is salvage. Around the world, the surviving colonies will have to act quickly to gather whatever resources they can. They won't have time to think about finding places to plant crops, even if they knew how. They would need to find supplies any way they could, and the bunkers would be the first stop. They would have to try to salvage anything they could. From there, survivors would raid any intact storefronts or houses, taking whatever they could. But every search would carry risk. What if an armed survivalist was already inside? But this would just slow down the ticking clock slightly. Depending on where the humans were located, they would have to decide fast what they were going to do. Cities won't be ideal for long-term survival. There's no food, no water, just scraps. So survivors would have to head out, searching for lakes, hunting grounds, or farmland. They'd take what they could carry and start their long journey. And once you leave, there is no going back. If the people stayed together in a bunker before this, they would likely know a little bit about each other, but they might not know each other's skills. Anyone who has experience in farming, technology, or medicine would likely be among the most valuable members of the ground. Someone with experience as a hunter, especially a low-tech one, could be invaluable. These people would be able to take the lead as they seek out a new place to live and build a home. But as with any group, conflicts might be inevitable. With each decision coming down to life and death, it wouldn't be long before disputes emerged. It might be personality conflicts, or it might be differing opinions over the safest approach. So it might be time for this new society's first experiment in democracy, or whatever system works for them. With no time for elections, leaders would rise naturally. In some groups, it would be the person with the most knowledge and strongest presence. In others, it might simply be the most intimidating figure. But let's just hope they know what they're doing. In the post-apocalypse, death can come in an instant. There's no infrastructure for medical help, so even a minor injury or illness could be fatal. If someone in the crew is well-versed in first aid, they might be able to help. But with limited supplies, they can only do so much. As such, the best medicine is prevention, taking efforts to prevent infection, injuries, and illness through basic safety. Searching for medicine like antibiotics would be one of the key tasks before heading out of the more urban areas. One rusty nail or bad cut, and you're gone. And then it's time for one of the most important tasks. Humans have gotten accustomed to having some level of climate control around them at all times, be it air conditioning or fans in the summer and heating systems in the winter. Even wood-burning stoves are likely to be out of reach now, so it's back to the basics, making fire. This is as simple and as tricky as it was during the days of early man. Collect some dry wood, some kindling like dried weeds, and something to ignite the flame. This could be sticks to rub together or rocks that could be struck together fast enough to create a spark. But even this might be harder than expected. Most campers rely on lighters or fuel to start a fire. Without them, it takes real skill. So hopefully someone in the group paid attention during a survivor fire-making challenge. Fire isn't just heat or light in the dark, it is survival. Without it, water can be deadly. Boiling kills dangerous parasites and microbes within minutes, as long as survivors have a vessel and a flame. That is, if you can find water. For most people today, getting water is as simple as turning on the tap or cracking open a bottle. However, many people around the world still don't have access to clean water. But even for them, boiling out the toxins usually works. For the survivors, though, finding any water will be a challenge. Water mains will likely be heavily destroyed, cutting off access in urban areas. Stockpiling bottled water would be an immediate priority before leaving the city, but carrying it is difficult. Outside urban areas, survivors might find working infrastructure or wells on farms. Most colonies would settle near a reliable water source to reduce the effort of hauling it. But man cannot live on water alone. Food supplies will run out quickly, especially for the larger groups. So once water and fire are secured, finding food will be the next task. At this point, the only reliable food source is other survivors of the animal kind. Anyone with hunting skills would be vital, able to trap small game and cook it over a fire. In cities, pests like rats, squirrels, groundhogs, and pigeons might be the first targets, while deer offer a far larger prize. But don't expect to be eating like kings. Unless someone was able to get a gun from the city before heading out, it's unlikely that anyone will have any weapons to bring down larger prey. That means going old school. Rocks, bags, filed down sticks turned into makeshift spears, maybe a rudimentary bow and arrow. Any animal caught would need to be cleaned carefully, since wild meat carries pests and parasites. Whatever little was left would be divided among the group to give everyone at least some protein, and the rest of the diet wouldn't be any more luxurious. Amid hunters, campers, and other key survivalists, the people in the group of survivalists should hope that they have a gardener. That might actually be Grandma's moment to shine, as the survivors will need some amount of vegetables to maintain a remotely healthy diet. A plant expert would be invaluable, able to spot which leaves are safe and which are deadly. Some, like dandelions, can be eaten, like kale or collards. Others have unexpected uses. Chicory, for example, can be used as a coffee substitute. This lifestyle is sustainable, but only barely. This small colony of around 100 humans would be constantly struggling to get enough food to survive. If there are any other animals around, they would find them in the form of predators. Wolves and bears would pose a serious threat to the camp. As it becomes clear the military isn't coming and no one else is out there, survivors would likely grow restless. Tensions inside the camp would start to reach a breaking point, so it may be time to head back out on the road. In the early days, keeping hope alive will be critical. The longer survivors go without seeing others, the more that hope will fade. With no communications, the only option is to set out and search, but this time the journey will be better prepared. They can bottle water, dry meat for the road, and even scavenge carts or wheelbarrows to haul supplies. And it's likely to be a very long path back to anything resembling a functioning society. While humanity has a lot of things going for it right now, one of the biggest tools at its disposal is human knowledge. And now 99% of that knowledge has been knocked out by the mass population apocalypse. Putting human civilization back together is something akin to assembling a jigsaw puzzle with only 5 of the 500 pieces. Some survivors may have basic survival skills, but few will have the knowledge needed to rebuild the infrastructure of a larger society, which is why searching for more humans will be key. Every new person added to the survivors will be a new potential knowledge base to make survival easier. But it'll also be another mouth to feed. It would be another potential conflict with the leader, and it might disturb a fragile ecosystem. But despite this, humanity needs to expand or it'll contract. It's unlikely that everyone will be able to survive this new paradigm for now. Despite society's best efforts, there are going to be injuries and infections, and many will be fatal. Additionally, any elderly or vulnerable people in the group will likely find themselves being worn down by this hard lifestyle soon. But is this society ready to start growing again? As long as humanity survives, people will seek companionship and family, but that adds new challenges. Pregnancy requires complex care, and maternal mortality was far higher before modern medicine. Childbirth itself is risky, with bleeding that survivors couldn't treat. And once a baby is born, resources will need to stretch even further to keep it alive. It would be a short-term hassle, but a long-term necessity. With the population dropping from ongoing deaths due to the harshness of the lifetime, having children will keep the population stable. Although it'll be a long time before any of the children born are functioning members of the colony, so the struggles are likely to continue and make efforts to find additional members more intense. No phones, no radios. The best way to search for others would be smoke, lighting a fire by day and hoping someone sees it. The first signal fire you see might be new friends or raiders ready to take everything you have. When the first colony finds other survivors, they'll no doubt be looking to compare notes. Where did they come from? What resources do they have? What skills are they bringing with them? If the first meeting goes well, the groups may join forces, building a more permanent settlement and laying the groundwork for rebuilding. From these small fragments, a new foundation for humanity could emerge. But unfortunately, human history has shown that to be a coin flip at best. In desperate situations, people often focus on their own survival rather than the bigger picture. A first meeting could easily collapse into conflict, with one group robbing or attacking the other. One death could wipe out a key skill, sending humanity ever closer to the abyss. And that means the revival of human society might be a long, long time away. With only a few 100,000 survivors, humanity would be pushed back to its earliest days. They would rely on hunting and gathering for survival, primitive methods of contact, and salvaged seeds to plant. The existence takes a lot of time and energy and leaves little room for innovating, if there are any innovators left in the group to try to invent things. And so much knowledge might have been lost forever. The knowledge that didn't exist only in the minds of people who created it could be found in libraries, depositories, and corporate files around the world, many of it thousands of miles away from the people who need it. And even more information has been digitized, which means it might be forever out of reach until someone can get the power grid working again. So the result is a fragmented society, consumed with trying to survive and having little chance to rebuild the human civilization that took tens of thousands of years to build. Well, at least at first. If the humans who are left continue having children, they'll eventually have more resources and more time for experimentation. It may take a few hundred years, but as a new world would start being built, it wouldn't be the same world. As things may happen in a different order, but human civilization would start again. At least for now, let's hope the new civilization doesn't build the same kind of weapons that destroyed the last one. We already mentioned the old idea of two people restarting humanity, but could it actually work? Watch, could two people actually repopulate Earth? To find out, or click on this video instead.